Okay, here we go again. Hello everyone, this is my beginning of the year spectacular, where I talk at you briefly on my thoughts, feelings, and general artistic overview of 2022, since I was kind of in my hermit era for most of it.
And don't ever let me see you rotten non-fairy folk around here again.
Now, I wouldn't say this is a 100% complete edition of my work. It's more of a highlight reel with bits of spare footage to accompany it, as there are still plenty of art processes I have on hand that I would really like to save for future videos, some of which I'm already working on. But hopefully this will still suffice, as I have plenty of work to share on the side. This video was meant to be out much sooner, but I ended up scrapping it as I was finishing out my editing for it because I really wasn't feeling how it was going. I should have gone with my gut and shifted direction much earlier on, but I hated the idea of scrapping the work I had already put into it. But there came a point where I had to force myself to make a decision, and in the end I just started to restart instead of putting out something I wasn't fully happy with, even at the cost of the deadline I set for myself. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because I actually kind of think it fits with this reoccurring energy that perpetuated in my year of 2022, and this situation surfacing was a good opportunity to wedge a crack into that cycle. In the end, I'm kind of glad it did happen because I could already tell this is going to be a much better rendition of the video I had originally planned to set out and share with you guys. It's also, I can tell, already going to be much less of a bummer too. 2022 for me on a surface level was actually generally uneventful, but at the same time it's moved mountains for me mentally and when it comes to my relationship with my creativity. It was a year of getting ready to be ready for sure, and it put me into situations that forced me to re-examine what I want out of life and who I want to be as an artist. I feel like compared to the last few years, there isn't as much to share, and I didn't get to experiment as much as I would have liked, but there's still a lot of things I finished that brought me a ton of joy, and it was a lot of fun to work on some of the comfort pieces I did this year. And despite some really difficult and drawn out periods of burnout, I still did pretty okay, I think. I started off fairly strong in the first half of the year. I tied up all my loose ends from the previous year, including finishing all my Patreon commissions. Some I finished while stranded at the Seattle airport for a few days. That was an absolute delight. There was a drive to improve and study more while also churning out a lot of character art, even if a lot of it was fairly simple. This carried over to the summer when I participated in Art Fight for the first time. All of a sudden I had an excuse to retouch original character designs and backstories as well as introduce new ones. I met a ton of fabulous people, some of which found me purely because they recognized my characters, and that was really cool. I didn't do as much as I wanted to there, but I loved every moment of it and I hope to do more next year. It was really nice to be a part of this enormous art trade extravaganza where everyone just kind of nerds out over their original creations, and that's very special to me. As I moved into the last phase of the year, there was a definite slow decline, kind of just in general. I felt it in August, but it was impossible to ignore by the time September hit, and it might have had something to do with my birthday in July coming and going, but I was hit with realizations that forced me to do a lot of introspection and very suddenly address some, let's say, baggage that I had been pushing aside for years at that point. It's difficult to get into it without running into the same issues that tanked the vibe of the first attempt at recording this, but I will say that it was all very necessary, and in hindsight, I'm glad I went through it despite how miserable it made me at the time. In a way, it almost felt like the open-ended questions those experiences dug up were brought to light so that I could focus on answering them this year. This whole period of time was greatly tied to my art too, and who and what I wanted to be as a creative. So most of the art and the passion to be artistic was affected in a major way. Despite all of that, though, I think something that really helped was my soft return to social media. Very soft, but it was a return nonetheless, especially to YouTube. It hasn't been very consistent as of yet, but I think the dabbling into TikTok, the sheepish return to Tumblr and YouTube, and the ongoing attempts to figure things out was a really good distraction, and is still a very major focal point for me moving forward into 2023. So overall, despite not turning up with anything I'd consider groundbreaking in terms of artistic improvement or taking the inspired action to move forward, a lot of seeds have been planted, and I'm eager to kick things into gear this year. I'm moving forward a little unsure, as I've yet to find something tangible to ignite a creative passion, but unlike last year, the unknown of it all doesn't leave me paralyzed anymore, which was a huge issue, which was a huge obstacle for me to overcome. And it won't always be easy, but I think 2023 is shaping up to be a really good year for personal journeys on a wide scale, and I look forward to see what I make of it. Before I go, though, I thought it would be nice to throw in some general New Year's resolutions for art and YouTube. They might be corny and unnecessary, and I firmly believe that you can choose any time of the year to decide to reinvent yourself, but they're still fun. I think they're still fun. To feel that productive French vanilla fantasy, why not? Firstly, I'd like to reach anywhere between 80k and 100k subscribers on YouTube, which is a kind of pie in the sky sort of wish, but you never know. I'd be happy to gain half that amount in a year anyway, so why not shoot for the moon? I would need to really devote myself to it in a way I had never have before, but think of the amount of growth one could achieve just from trying, so I think it's really worth the attempt. Second, you can also bet that I'm going to be drawing something every single day this year, even if all I can muster in one appointed day is a stick figure on a napkin or something, or rather I should say like a gesture drawing or something. Thirdly, I'd like to accomplish at least 3 different 100 blank challenges, be it 100 heads, 100 hands, 100 poses, stationary items, flowers, you name it. I've always been intrigued by it, and I've never done it like to its fullest before. Dedicating myself to it 3 times seems like a pretty easy and reasonable goal, and I could also do like a part 2 to any of them for an extra challenge if I find myself wanting to push myself a little farther. Finally, I'd like to devote myself to a long-term project, be it planning for a webcomic, dedicating time to learning how to make a game, or even create like a prototype for, I don't know, a children's book or something. Just something that I can work towards that would not only ignite a drive to improve on a new skill, but also to just finally have a personal project I could sink time into that I could also be very proud of. And I'd consider this goal reached even if I could just identify what it exactly is I want to do. Other art-related resolutions include probably getting better equipment to record videos, like a better mic, acquire a better tablet, familiarize myself with different art programs, or even take an illustration class or something. Maybe? With all that said, all I really want to do is make more art that I like and share that art with all of you. If nothing else, I just want to fall in love with art again and spend as less time being in my head about life as possible. Easier said than done, but it's slowly getting easier. I think that does it. I'm ready to go and get planning on stuff that I've needed to attend to for a while now. I've got this backlog of videos I need to finish sorting out, and I'm ready to slam the door on last year for real and stop talking about my beef brain. Get out of here, man. Not you listening, you're wonderful. And if you'd like to write an essay or perhaps a few points about your year or your goals for this year, feel free to. Sometimes writing things down just helps bring focus, and I'd love to see what you have to say. Thank you to everyone who has stuck with me this long, and to any newer viewers watching now. I'm eager to see what this new year brings for everyone. Keep dreaming, no matter how difficult things may seem in the moment, and take comfort in knowing that every situation is temporary. There can be a lot of stuff knocking around in our heads, so prioritize the things that serve you well if you can. Happy New Year to all my starlings. Farewell, bye-bye, ta-ta.